Morning, everybody. Welcome to practice today. Today is all about core stability and some balance and some hip opening. So I hope you enjoy today's practice. So to start with, just come standing onto your mat. What we're going to just roll our shoulders sort of upwards, backwards, trying to get the shoulder blades to meet at the back. So just go a few times in one direction. And then when you're ready, rolling your shoulders in the opposite direction. So bringing them forward. Okay, reverse that once again. Nice big shoulder rolls. So four in that direction and then bring it forward. And when ready, just bringing our right hand up to the sky, literally reaching up. So hips stay steady, and then just stretching down the right hand side of the body. Try and remain equal across the feet when doing this, so you get all the stretch down the side. And then just going to the other side. And just repeat again. And the other side. And then when we're ready, just dropping our chin to our chest and rolling our neck. So some neck rolls. So left ear to left shoulder, all around the back, right ear to right shoulder and back to center. Go again. Really feel every ounce of the movement. And then when you've done 3 in one direction, reverse and go the other way. So right ear to right shoulder, all the way backwards, nice and slow, left ear to left shoulder, and then round the front, chin to chest. So keep going, just a couple more. And then next time you come to center, just stop there. Perfect. And coming down onto the mat next. So tabletop position. So hands shoulder width distance apart, knees are hip width distance apart, and my hips are over my knees in this position. And I'm pushing the mat away. So not sinking down into my shoulders, I'm pushing the mat away. My index fingers are pointing forwards in my box position, my tabletop position. And from here, we're going to take some gentle cat-cows. So dropping the belly, looking forward, inhale. And then rolling up through the spine, coming into our cat position, looking back between our legs, exhale. All through the nose. Forward, dropping our belly, looking forward, inhale, cow. And then exhaling, looking back into our cat, rolling up through the spine. Once more. And rolling up through our spine. And when you're ready, just sending our bottom back to our heels, coming into child's pose. Child's pose is available at any time you want it to. So if you need to just take a break. And child's pose, knees are a bit apart, so widen, toes are together, sending our body down. You can use a brick if you want to, rest your head on, or a cushion, and then arms around the back. And relax. This should be a rest pose. So do work within your practice, and if you need to take breaks, come into child's pose whenever you need to. And when you're ready, just taking that block away, coming back into our cat-cow position, into our tabletop position. And when we're ready, right foot is coming back, coming into like a runner's lunge. So I'm up on my toes here and just stretching out. So gently just stretching out into my heel. I get some flex in my foot, engage my calf and my thigh of my right leg. Again, keep pushing that mat away. And then knee back in place, the other leg going back, and just rocking backwards and forwards, just stretching stretching the foot, stretching the calf muscle, just gently. And then just coming back to a tabletop position. And when we're ready, engage in the core, so navel to spine. We're going to pick up our right hand and our left leg, flexing that foot, keeping it firm, push the mat away, all engaged. And then hand and knee back to mat. On the other side, left hand up, right leg back, engage that core, really feeling the stretch, and then back to the mat. And then now we're going to pick up our right leg. So we're literally going to send it up to 90 degrees. And then roll the knee out to the side. Try and keep the weight equal across in the hands, so you're not drifting off into the left side, and back to center. Go again, up to 90 degrees. Rotate the hip out to the side. And then knee back to center. Once more. Rotating that hip. And bringing it back in and back down. Just take a moment just to steady. And then go on the other side. So left knee up, 90 degrees. Rotate that hip, sending it out to the left side and back into center. And go again, 90 degrees. Rotating the hip out to the left side and then back to center. And then once more, up, out, and back to center. And then just coming back, and I've tucked my toes here, just gently to just give a gentle stretch, not spending too much time here, but just getting a little stretch through my toes and my feet just to warm up. And then sitting back on our heels. Now, like two of my blocks. If it's easier to sit on a block this way, so if kneeling is difficult, just use a block to support you. And what we're going to do is just do some wrist rolls. So just like this, and then opposite direction. Just warming up those wrists. Lots of time spent at computers and at desks makes our wrists tight. And then with one hand out, just use the other one gently to just pull those fingers back, ever so gently. And on the other side. And then back to the left, hand down, just very gently. Just pulling it in. I notice my arms are really engaged when I do this. I haven't got floppy arms. I'm engaged in my arms. They're not locked out, but just enough to give some firmness in the practice. And again, and just rotate, just move and do what feels good. Make those wrists move. And then just really exercising each finger. We don't do lots of, but probably should. Okay, lovely. So when we're ready, coming back into our tabletop position. So setting up again, and again, just rocking our wrists by rocking backwards and forwards, just over our wrists. So my hands at the moment are facing forward. You can turn them slightly out to the sides and rock a little bit side to side, but the idea is just to get some movement in the wrists. We're going to use them next. Okay, and just come back to stillness. Just put those hands back in normal position, neutral position. So index finger facing forward, pushing the mat away. And when we're ready, tucking our toes and rising into our first downward dog of practice. So find your dog. If you're not sure where your dog is, your downward dog is, just float forward into plank. And if you can come into a plank and everything as it moves, and this is a yoga plank, my shoulders are in line with my hips. That's the length of your dog. So keep walking your feet, walking your dog, just to warm up. And then when you find stillness, just feel the length of your dog. Upper arms are rotating outwards, so your shoulder blades are going really flat. So imagine the palm of the hand is sitting on your shoulder blades and pushing it down so it's really flat. Hips are high. Heels don't need to be on the mat. They will go in time if they want to, but it isn't imperative. It's more about the length of the dog. And tucking those ribs in so I'm not splaying out in my ribs. And just find stillness in your dog and breathe through your nose and out through your nose. Once more, in through the nose and out through the nose. When we're ready, right foot's going to step between two hands, dropping that left knee to the mat, letting that back foot go, rising up, engaging the core, low lunge. So you might feel the stretch down your left thigh here, really pulling up. So I'm not collapsing, not sticking my chest out. I'm tucking my ribs in, tucking my tail down, nice and firm in my low lunge. Shoulders are relaxed away from my ears. Hands back to mat, tucking the toes, stepping it back to my downward dog. And when we're ready, going to go left foot between two hands, dropping that right knee to mat, let the back foot go, really sucking in that navel to spine in that core to come up. Relax shoulders, low lunge. Hands back to the mat, tucking those toes. And just walk your dog. And if you need to stay in a bit of bent legs here in downward dog, that is absolutely fine. Don't rush to get straight legs if you're not there yet. That's okay. If a bent leg downward dog works for you, you can work with that. So when you're ready, walking your feet forward to meet your hands at the front of the mat. Coming into my first bend, full bend. Half lift, hands on shins or to the mat. Crown of the head forward, eyes looking down. And exhale, full bend. And when we're ready, arms rise all the way up to the top and hands to heart center. Go again, so arms rise high. Inhale, sweep all the way down, full bend, Uttanasana. Exhale, half lift, straight back, crown towards the mat, full bend. Hands to the mat, big step back, step it into a plank. And you can chaturanga, so lower down from here or drop the knees. Eyes and elbows forward, send the body forward, start bending into your elbows, bring it down, chaturanga. And then when we're ready, push the mat away, sending it into a baby cobra. Eyes to the mat, tucking toes, pushing ourselves back up into our downward dog. Okay, and just take a moment here, find your dog. So while we're here in our rest pose, just set your intention for your class. Might be just to follow along, might be to try something new, just to listen in. And today's all about core stability, hip mobility. So rising our right leg up, coming into a three-legged dog. So hips are facing the mat in a three-legged dog. Equal weight going through the hands, so you're not drifting off into everything onto the left side. And it's not about height here, it's about the rotation of the hip. So the hip is facing the mat. When we're ready, going to bring it through, step the right foot through, engage the core, bring it up into a high lunge position. Really strong in my back legs, not locked out. Feel like a spring in my back leg. And then just bending into my front knee. So I'm prioritizing my knee over my ankle here. High lunge. Tucking my ribs in, nice and firm. When we're ready, hands cycling back towards the mat. Step it back into our downward dog. And when we're ready, left foot rises into a three-legged dog. Again, equal weight over the two hands, so nothing changes in the upper half of the body. Your heel on your other foot, the foot on the mat might go down a little bit more as more weight's gone through. But when we're ready, just rising up, bringing that left foot through, engaging the core, engaging the glutes, bringing it up into a high lunge position. And try and find stillness. Just keep breathing. Temptation is to stop breathing, but keep breathing. And find stillness in the pose. When you're ready, cycling those hands back to the mat, stepping it back into your downward dog. Knees to the mat, wide knees if you need, grab your block if you need, and just bring it back into a child's pose. And arms around the back here. And rest. So you can use the other block under your head if you want to. Another way to do child's pose. Just take a moment. And if your breath has increased, then just try and take deeper breaths in. Maybe in for 4. Hold for 4. And then out for 4. Okay. So when you're back to your normal breath, going to rise again, coming back into a downward dog position. You can go through box if you want to, tabletop if you want to, but find your downward dog. This time, right foot up, comes into a 3-legged dog. This time, open the hip out. So my toes were facing the mat, so it's facing the ground, rotated my hips and my toes are now facing to the right side of my room. Hands are still in place, equal weight going through them. And then rotating that hip back, stepping it through. Engage that core, coming up into a high lunge position. And when we're ready, just stepping that back foot in slightly and just bringing it off the mat. This might be enough. If you'd like a bit more, you can start tipping forward, coming into our warrior 3 position in balance. If you need to have a slightly bent leg when you're standing there, that's fine, but really push that right foot into the mat. Notice I've got flex foot, try and keep steadiness. And I am breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. When you're ready, just stepping it back into a high lunge position. Nice. Hand cycling towards the mat. Step it back into our downward dog. And this time, walking our feet towards our hands. And rising up all the way up. This time, little back bend. So arms up high. Push those front of the pelvis forward. And you're going over your beach ball behind you. So pulling up before we go back. But staying upright if that's enough for you. And when you're ready, sweeping all the way down. Full bend. Half lift. Crown of the head forward. And then exhale down. Crown is facing the mat. Stepping it back. Really big step back into our plank position. Eyes of the elbows forward. Rolling through the toes. Start dropping down. Chaturanga slow. 3, 2, 1. And you're on the mat. Hands come away from the chest and just off the mat, facing just slightly outwards. Push the mat away, rising up into our full cobra. Eyes back to the mat. Tucking those toes. Hands back by our chest. And sending it back to a downward dog. So we're going to go on the other side. But do what works for you. So if the hip opening was a bit more difficult and you wanted to just stay in 3-legged dog, just do that. And then meet us on the step forward. So left leg rises, toes facing the mat. When we're ready, the hip opens, nothing changes in the top half of my body. When we're ready, toes back to the mat, bringing it forward, stepping it through. Rising up into a high lunge position. Take a moment here. And when you're ready, step that back foot in slightly, lifting off, clamping down with really stamping in my left foot. Start rolling forward, coming into warrior 3, balanced position. If this is tricky, just being here is fine. about just getting stability through the standing leg. Height isn't important if it's more just about getting balance, finding your balance and what works. And when you're ready, bending that left knee, bringing it back into a high lunge. Hands back to the mat. Stepping it back into our downward dog. Nice. And ready, just floating forward into our plank. Now, you can chaturanga down like we did before, or you can drop your knees. So I'll drop my knees this time, just to show that again. Body's coming forward, bending into the arms, lowering all the way down. So chest and the front of the pelvis hit at the same time. And then when we're ready, just rising up and coming to a baby cobra here. Eyes back to the mat, tucking those toes, bending back into our downward dog. Nice. Right. You can have one more go at our flow. We'll do some other things. So, right foot rises, three-legged dog, toes pointing towards the mat. Open the hip out, so the toes point to the right side of the room. This time, can you drop your heel towards your bottom? See if you can get that knee pointing a bit forwards, bit upwards towards the ceiling if you can. Keep sending it up, engage the glutes. And then back to hip open, toes to the side, rotate the hip back round, and bringing it forward into our high lunge position. This time, when we're ready, going to step that left foot back in. So, lifting off, this is fine, stay here. If you want to go a bit further, come into warrior 3, foot flexed, T. And if you feel like you want a bit more challenge, just grab my block. Block in front, in my warrior 3, hand to the block. I'm going to open my hip out to the side. But stay in warrior 3 if that's enough. Okay. Just challenge balance and use your blocks. Doesn't matter if you wobble, that's good. Wobbling is good. So this is half moon. So when we're ready, rotating it back into our warrior 3 position, stepping it back into our high lunge. Lovely. Okay, when we're ready, stepping it forward at the front of the mat. Really raising our arms wide to the sky. Back bend, little baby back bend here. Push those hips forward, push the pelvis forward. Going over that beach ball. And then sweeping all the way down to a forward bend. Half lift, straight back. Weight rocking forward. And then exhale, full bend. Crown to the mat. Stepping it back into our plank position. And when you're ready, coming down into your chaturanga, hovering at the bottom if you can. Keep going down, keep going down. Releasing those feet. And if you're coming up into up dog, hands a bit lower towards your waist, a bit away, push the mat up, chest is off, stomach off, hips off, and then arms are straight. My thighs are off if you're coming into up dog. Put the knees back on the mat, send it back, come into child's position and rest. Right, got one more to do on the other side. Good work, hard work. But when we're ready, come into tabletop and come back up into our downward dog position. Really feel your dog. You might feel really warmed up now on one side. It might feel different. The right might feel different to the left. So here we go. Left foot up, three-legged dog. Toes pointing down towards the mat. Then opening the hip out. Nothing changed in the top half, but my toes are now pointing to the left side of my room. And then I'm dropping my heel to my buttock as much as I can and sending my knee up to the ceiling as far as I can go. But stay in any version of that. if you need to. Then back into rotated hip. Turn it back round into your three-legged dog, stepping it through, and then rising up into a high lunge position. So again, get your block ready if you're going to have a go at the half moon. So I'm in my runner's lunge, my crescent pose, high lunge position. Back foot just steps in slightly, lift off, stay there, come low. You can use blocks in Warrior 3 if you want to. And then I'm just going to grab my block a bit further away, that's it. Under my block, I'm going to open my hip out, a bit wobblier on this side. Try and send my right shoulder behind me, lifting that foot up. There we go. Half moon. Hands to 12 o'clock. Stamping that left foot. Oh, wobbly. That's okay. Half moon. Back into Warrior 3. Oh, very wobbly to go on that side. There we go. Back into our high lunge position. Nice. And stepping it forward to the front of the mat. Ooh, good work. Arms rise up. Forward bend all the way down. Half lift. Crown to the mat, exhale. Full bend. Hands on the mat. Turning it back into plank. Knees to the mat. So if you're going, we'll go all the way down. If you're going to keep on your toes, but each way, send your body forward. Really bending into your arms, down into chaturanga. And then I'm going to come up into a full cobra. So hands just slightly away. Full cobra, really sending the heart through, looking forward. Really strong. Relax the clavicle, as the front of the shoulder, the front of the chest, high chest. Heart through. Eyes back to the mat. Tucking those toes and sending it back up into my downward dog. Nice. Okay, so when we're ready, just going to walk to the front of the mat and then ragdoll here. So take a few moments here. I'm just going to stretch out. So grabbing our elbows, crown of the head towards the mat, hanging heavy. Neck should be free. And just rock. You might feel it in your hamstrings. And if you try and sort of shift the weight into the sort of balls of your feet, you might feel more. Stretch down the hamstrings. And we're ready, let the hands go. And rolling up, keep the chin tucked into the chest. Rolling up through the spine. Lovely. Perfect. Okay, so while we're here, I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly. There we go. Okay, so while we're here, just come standing on the mat. Feet are a couple of inches apart. And just breathe. Again, we started here. Come into mountain pose, a very strong pose. So feet grounded into the mat, pulling up through the knees, pulling up through the front of the pelvis. Really engage core. Hands facing forward, little fingers touching the thighs. Relax shoulders away from the ears, mountain pose. Okay, so more centering of ourselves. So pick a point on the wall or if you're in a room or in the distance, wherever you're practicing from. Drishti, that is our focus. So keep your eyes on that point, shifting the weight into the right foot and just letting the left foot go light. So then rotate the hip out. You might stay here, might come up onto your calf, or if you're feeling like you want to try and go a bit higher, you can bring it up and rest it on your inner thigh. Hands to heart center. If you'd like to try a bit more, oh, wobbly. If you'd like to try a bit more, our hands can go up. And even eyes are shut. If you wanted a bit more, I'm going to come back to here. Okay. Just pick that point on the wall or whatever you're looking at as your point and breathe. And feel a stillness. And don't worry if you're wobbling. I'm wobbling. Part of practice means our muscles are working, compensating, but working out how to keep our balance. And I'll just lift my toes just to stop me scrunching into the mat and putting them back down again. And when you're ready, just releasing the foot, rotating the hip back in, back down to the mat. Lovely. Just give it a shake. Okay, find Tadasana, find mountain pose again. So knees up, pulling up through the front of our pelvis, pulling up, engaging our core, relaxing those shoulders down, and breathing in. Really strong pose. So when we're ready, weight goes into our left foot, the right goes light, rotate that hip out. Here might be enough. You can bring your foot up onto your calf or above the knee to here, up on your shin, up on your thigh, sorry. I'm going to go back to my shin here. I'm going to come to hands to heart center. Again, if you want to raise your hands for a bit more challenge, do that. On that point that you're looking on, keep concentrating it and breathe and try and relax. Although it's a lot of engaging everything to keep our balance, the more we can relax into it, the easier it becomes in time. But don't worry if you're wobbling, it's fine. That's exactly what practice is for. Okay, just lifting my toes so I'm not scrunching into the mat. Put them back down. Trying to use the whole pad of my foot to press into. Keep myself steady. Okay, and when we're ready, bringing that knee back to the front, foot back to the mat, and really letting it go there. Okay, perfect. Right, so coming back to the front of our mat, going to come all the way down. So arms wide, all the way up to the top. This time, Kali Mudra hands. So hands together like this, just in case I'm off screen. There we go. And then really reaching up and then back over the beach ball, sending those hips forward. And then sending our hands all the way. Keep them together, coming all the way down into our forward bend. Let the hands go. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, head down. Coming back to our plank position. Again, do what feels good. So if you want to stay on your toes and chaturanga down, so lower down from here, you can, or drop your knees. So rolling forward on the toes, bending into the elbows, lowering down, hovering, 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 and down. And this time, I'm going to send my hands a bit further away and like have little pyramids like this. And then I'm going to press them into the ground and push up. Really engaging my core though. This is trying to use the core rather than it all being in the back. But do baby cobra if that suits you, or full cobra. And then eyes back to the mat. And then while we're here, make a pillow with our hands, just resting our forehead on our pillow, looking down towards the mat. So while we're here, we're going to send our shins and calves back up to 90 degrees. And just windscreen wobble them from left to right. Just release anything there. And keep breathing. And then feet back to the mat. And this time, if you can, if you feel like you want to give this a try, hands going forwards. And literally just bringing our hands, engaging, just to bring some upper body off the mat. And then back down to the mat. Okay, and when we're ready, hands back by our chest, sending it back into our child's pose. Okay. So while we're here, just going to sit on the mat, swing the legs round, coming into our boat pose position. Just do some exercise here. So reaching out in front of us, really pulling our back straight, our chest, our knees in towards our chest. Doesn't matter if the feet need to be a bit wider, then that's fine too. And just bringing one leg up, back to the mat, and bringing the other leg up and back to the mat. And we're ready, just bringing the soles of our feet together. I'm going to use 2 blocks here. So I turn that way, cobbler's pose. The soles of my feet are together, the outer blades are together. And I'm going to use blocks basically to support under here. So if I'm sitting like this, outer blades, my feet are open like a book. And I'm basically going to put in the blocks just so they give me some support here. So there's a lot of sort of tension in the leg, in the knees. This is all about a groin, more of a groin stretch. You just use the blocks just to support you if you need them. Back sitting up straight. And if this is a bit much, what you can do is send one leg straight, have one leg in your cobbler's pose in the sort of half position if you want to. But just make sure you switch over halfway so the other one goes straight, and it's an engaged foot to engage the leg. So it's a flex foot to engage the leg. Okay, just one more cycle here, just a few more breaths. Cobbler's pose. Okay, cool. Right. So when we're ready, what we're going to do now is actually come into our tabletop position. And the next thing to do is your left knee comes towards your left wrist and just rotates round. So your foot comes round. And then just stretching the right leg back and away. So coming into pigeon pose. So pigeon pose is best to find the best position for you. The leg does not have to be straight. As you can see, my physiology doesn't let me have a straight leg. But the important bit is to make sure that you are supported. So use your blocks, use your hands to keep you there. And then basically just looking forward, relaxing down those hips into the mat if you can. And that might be enough. So rolling onto that left cheek is how I come out of pigeon. And I won't go to the other side. So you set up again, to come back into tabletop, right knee to the right wrist, and then bring the foot in, and then sending the left leg backwards. But again, go to where you need to get to. You can use blocks if you want to. If there's lots of gap between the bottom and the floor, you can use a block, you can use a cushion, whatever works. I'll put my block there. I'm going to stay on my hands here just to take the weight. So it's not about collapsing into the sort of pelvis area. It's more just trying to give a little bit more stretch into the front of the thighs, into the quads, and really looking forward here. Pigeon pose. And then to come out of that, take the block away, take the cushion away, roll onto that, the cheek, the right cheek, and then send the legs down and round. Cool. So we're at the front of the mat again, sending ourselves down, arms out, start rolling down, tucking the chin in, rolling down vertebra by vertebra, engaging that core, nice and slow, and then coming down to the mat. And this time, bringing the knees in. Hands on the knees, keeping the toes together and just drawing some really big circles on the ceiling. Go in one direction, so 3 or 4, maybe 5 times, and then reverse it, go the other way. Some hip work. Make sure we stretch out properly afterwards. And when you're ready, soles of the feet back to the mat. And if you send the right foot away, if this is comfortable, you can remain here, keep your feet on the mat, but if you want a little bit more stretch, send the right leg away, foot is flexed, bringing that left knee in, gently applying some weight to the left knee. Now, it can go out a little bit to the side, so you might just use one hand if that feels better. But just go to what feels comfortable, and important in all yoga practices, work within what your body can do. Okay, when we're ready, I'm going to send that left foot long, engage it, and then bring the right one in. And again, a little bit of pressure. I'm going to send it out to the side. So literally just giving myself some space here. So just bringing it outwards ever so slightly. And all the while I'm pushing my left hip. So we're saying if you're on the other side. So if my right knee is going out to the side like I've got it here, I'm always trying to push the left hip down into the mat. So it's not rolling off, and pushing my lower back into the mat. Like I said, if it's easy to stay with your foot up, knee pointing towards the ceiling, soles of the feet on the mat, then do that if that releases the pressure in your lower back. But do what's comfortable for you and your practice. And when we're ready, bringing that right knee in, bringing both knees in together. And you can hug, you can rock if that's comfortable. Feet to the mat, windscreen wiper, the legs from left to right. Okay, a couple of last asanas, last exercises before we go into our Shavasana for today. So we're going to come up into bridge. So again, feet coming in towards the bottom. They don't need to meet. If you can, brush your heels with your fingertips, but don't worry if you can't, that's absolutely fine. And if any feet need to go a little bit wider, the important bit of this is the knees point towards the ceiling. And you want to keep them pointing that way. So our setup for bridge is here. Walk the shoulder blades down so your shoulders are away from your ears, and the neck should be really free. No tension in the neck. There's no weight and no tension when you come up into bridge into your neck. And then my hands are facing down, but I'm not pushing down so much. It's just for really just lightly touching the mat. My elbows are into the mat as well. So when we're ready, just rocking the pelvis up and down just to get the feeling of what we're about to do to come up into bridge. Just reconnect. Right, and then come back into stillness. And then when we're ready, tipping the pelvis backwards and up. Start picking the back up off the floor, vertebra by vertebra. Basically, my neck is still free. There's no tension. I've only come up onto the upper of my shoulder blades here. My knees are still pointing to the ceiling. So try and push your knees away, basically. So there should be a straight line from your knees and through your hips. Really try and clench through. When we're ready, just bring it down, vertebra by vertebra, rolling back down onto the mat. Again, you can windscreen wipe your legs here. That works. Or just stretch long if you want to take a different stretch, and that's fine too. Okay, so when we're ready, set up again, knees to the ceiling, thighs are parallel. And when we're ready, literally pulling, rocking our pelvis up and back, tilting it up and back, and then picking up vertebra by vertebra off the mat. Push the knees away. Make sure they're still remaining parallel to each other. And that might be enough. Stay here. You might want to take your arms over your heads for a little bit more. Again, my neck is still loose. My head is still loose. You can always go to arms out to the side if that feels better. Or back down by your side. And then rolling it back down. Okay. When we're ready, just bringing those knees in towards our chest and really, really getting a roll from side to side here. Okay, and then feet to the mat. So this exercise you can do just as you are. If you've got a strap or belt handy or something, it's quite good just to get some stretching in. So coming back on the mat. So again, feet back on the soles of the feet on the mat. You can stay here with one foot on the mat. What I'm going to do is place my strap around the ball of my right foot and send it to the ceiling. So I'm standing, so it's flexed, and I'm on the ball of my foot with my strap. I've got the ends of the strap in my hand. I'm pushing my upper body, my shoulder blades into the mat. So your shoulders should not be off. So this is not great when you're trying to do this position. What you want to do is have your shoulders on the ground, on the mat, and then hold the end of the strap. Okay, so nothing is off. And then just, you can be here, just bring in some stretch. And if you want a little bit more stretch into your hamstring, pulling that the band towards you, just brings your leg forward. Again, you can do this without a band. You don't need to have a strap. Just aids a little bit more stretch. And if you're feeling good, feeling steady, and that keeping the left knee up to the ceiling, you might be able to bring it out to the side ever so slightly, the right foot. Really pushing down into the mat, pushing that left hip. If your right leg's going out, pushing the left hip into the mat. Bringing it back to center, and then crossing the midline with your right foot. Again, my left knee is staying where it is, pointing towards the ceiling. Giving me steadiness on that side. And then back to center. And then bringing that foot down. Swapping feet. So there we go. On the ball of my feet. So set up again. So right sole of the foot's on the mat, knee pointed to the ceiling. My strap is around my the ball of my feet. So I push it away and I've got a flex foot, and I've grabbed the ends of the belt so that my backs of my shoulders are still on the mat. Okay. So if there's too much strain here, you can pull your shoulders. So just always grabbing the ends, keeping those shoulders down here. So again, that might be enough to come here. And don't worry, if you're here, that's fine too. This is just stretching our hamstrings. So if you want a little bit more, pulling the toes towards your face, you're trying to bring your toes close to your face, a bit more stretch. And if you're feeling good, you just want to go to the side ever so slightly. Just making sure that right knee stays pointing towards the ceiling. And as soon as it starts moving, all that right hip starts really coming off, just ease off. Bring it back to where it's there. And it just means it's practice, just something to work on. So we control, bringing it to the other side, crossing the midline, working the hip the other way. Might feel it in the outer hip here. And bringing it back to center. When we're ready, just taking that strap away, bringing those knees in. And now just really rotating big circles, stretching the legs away if you want, if that feels good. drawing circles with our knees just to get movement back in the hips. So more directions. Bringing in one knee at a time, sending it away. And when you're ready, sending feet away, arms away. And if shoulders are tight and arms above the head is hard, you can cactus. So coming into cactus position or out to the side with your arms. So you can go overhead, cactus, or keep them down by your side, but just full body stretch. Inhale. And exhale through the nose. Let everything go. Inhale. And exhale. When you're ready, moving everything away. So move my strap away, move my blocks away. So sending my feet as wide as the mat, letting them fall out. Walking the shoulder blades down, so my shoulders away from my ears, hands away from the body, palms facing up. Coming into Shavasana. Resting into our Shavasana today. Revisit that intention for the class. Maybe have a body scan. What feels good? What feels a bit tighter? No judgment. And lots of hard work today. And it's all practice, the wobbles. Things haven't quite got as you planned. It's all part of yoga practice. Just relaxing into the mat. So feel the mat taking your weight. Let all the muscles relax. So jaws relaxed, face is relaxed. Slight gap on the lips helps to relax the jaw so we're not clenching. And soft shut to the eyelids. And when you're ready, just start wiggling your fingers, start wiggling your toes. Maybe rotate the wrists, rotate the ankles, and then soles of the feet on the mat, and then bringing it in towards your body. So bring those knees in, and when we're ready, just rocking onto our favourite side. So I'm rolling onto my right side. When we're ready, just using our hands to bring us up into our seated position. So you can be seated, you can be kneeling if that's more comfortable for you, or sitting on a block. When we're ready, arms rising wide and high, looking up to the sky, and then hands to heart center. Thank you for practicing today.